You may recall I read out a tweet. It was just a little one. It said, at BBC Gloss, trying to get some famous picnics going on, just involves being with friends and eating cake, and then a smiley face. Well, obviously eating cake would have done it for us, but there was a lot more to it because I was intrigued. When I clicked on the details, I found what turned out to be quite a remarkable story, really. The tweeter turned out to be a mum from Stroud called Rachel Pegler, and of her 4 children, her 15-year-old daughter Molly basically has times when she can rarely leave the house. It's all because of a rare condition. She's been poorly pretty much all her life, but it was only a few months ago, now she's 15, bear in mind, that the family finally got a diagnosis, and that diagnosis might just be changing Molly's life. Mum Rachel is with me now. Hello, good afternoon to you. So let's start at the beginning then. Let's talk about Molly. When did you first realise that something was amiss here?
Well, I wondered when I was pregnant, because I was quite ill. I had cholestasis, like a liver problem, and basically I had Molly in the car in 20 minutes, like really, really fast. And it was about 3 weeks later that she just got poorly, and she caught bronchitis from somebody, one of Joshua's friends that came round for tea, ended up in hospital. And from then on, really, every time she got a cold, it would just go onto her chest and develop into a chest infection or pneumonia. We'd end up in hospital, and it would take weeks and weeks and weeks of recovery. By the time she was 3, I mean, she was under a consultant from Gloucester. I mean, they're very, very good, and they have saved her life quite a few times with this chest problem that she's had. But yeah, she was referred to other consultants. No one could really ever work out why she was like this. I mean, when she was 3, we actually started giving her physiotherapy then for her chest, because she'd get a cold. And basically she couldn't get over it. Like you and I would have a cold.
Shake it off in 4 days.
We'd get rid of it, but not her. She would cling on to it, and she would have that cold for a good 3 weeks and end up on antibiotics, then end up in hospital.
And in fact, I mean, she's 15 now. We're talking about then that she was 3, but she's been in and out of hospital her entire life.
This, honestly, I'm not joking you, this goes on every 3 to 4 weeks, forever. She gets a cold, it'll get worse, she can't get better.
Gets a chest infection, gets pneumonia.
I mean, you know, when she has been really, really poorly at times. When she was 3, we came out of hospital on Christmas Eve, and she had double pneumonia. It was awful. I mean, she was a year old, she had pneumonia then. I didn't know what was going to happen to her. She was in an oxygen tent. It was hideous. And this just goes on. This just goes on and on and on and on for us.
So how did you deal with her education then? Because clearly she wasn't in and out of school at the same time.
When her education, I mean, she probably is at school 75% of the time, I would imagine. In her first year at school, she was barely there. She was basically in hospital most of the time with these recurrent chest infections. Her teacher at school, her first teacher, she actually used to do physiotherapy for me at lunchtime so Molly could breathe for the afternoon. It was Mrs. Hawkins, her name was.
God bless Mrs. Hawkins, don't we love Mrs. Hawkins?
Honestly, you wouldn't get many teachers that would put a little child over their knee and do proper percussion physio. You know, she was brilliant. But this was what was happening. And I used to go and pick Molly up from school because she'd been ill, and I'd get there and she'd be asleep on her desk with her head fast asleep on the desk, and I'd be like to Mrs. Hawkins normally, oh, here we go again, we're going to be in hospital again now. So then I'd have to go and sort out Josh, our boy, get him looked after by my mum and dad, and get Martin from work, say Molly's going in again, so we have to go back into hospital. Then she developed allergies to antibiotics, because basically she's on them, been on them all the time,
constantly.
So now,
but you have, but the point is, as you sort of touched on there, by the stage as she's getting older, you have 3 other children as well. So you're trying to keep all those balls in the air.
It's really hard. Yeah, I've never been able to go out and get a proper job. I've basically, because I'm an illustrator, so I work from home, which is good because nobody would ever employ me because Molly is always poorly every 3 or 4 weeks. And it does get to a stage where it really gets you down, and you're like, oh, here we go again, you know, and it's just not fair. I mean, on the others either, being shipped out all the time.
I think that is
And
often
the
the case,
worry.
isn't it? When you've got one sick child,
Yeah.
there's, and obviously the focus inevitably of your, you know, energy and professionals' energy and everybody's energy is on that sick child. Everybody's been that way, will understand that.
Yeah.
But then you worry about the other children, and
I know.
you know, who can be very patient and tolerant and whatever, but they need your attention too.
I do feel very sorry for Josh, especially because he was he's at university now, but he's 4 years older than Molly, and he just had to watch her being ill all the time, and I'm sure he used to worry so much because
Did you talk to him about it?
Yeah, we did. We always talk to the kids. I mean, we're a really close family. You know, we sit at the tea table every night and we have big family discussions and we chat and we laugh and we're really close. And so every one of us knows exactly what's going on. You know, we know that Molly needs extra care. And everyone looks out for Molly a little bit more. I mean, Poppy is 10. She's always been like a little mummy to Molly. She's 10 now. She does everything for her too. You know, she looks after her and she looks out for her, and she's quite protective as are the others. And
do you think it has brought you closer then? The difficulties you've had.
I don't know, because we've always been. I mean, my family, we've always been that way anyway. But yeah, I think probably it has. Yeah.
Now Molly has finally, I can say, got a diagnosis.
Yeah.
It's rare, so that, you know, it's almost. Is it worth saying what it is? Because nobody will have heard of it, I'm sure.
Well, this is my problem now. This is the problem I'm having because Molly's had this all of her life. And basically, she spent her life indoors. She's not been
Which
able
is not
to...
what you want for a child, is it?
No,
Really?
she's never been able to form really proper friendships with others. She's just not had a normal life, and it's not fair. She's always feeling poorly. Everyone's been affected, like holidays. I mean, 7:30 in the morning before we go down to Cornwall, we're at the hospital checking that she's okay to go down, and we're not going to end up in hospital. I mean, there's been a few occasions like that. But yes, finally, we found out what it is, and she's actually got something called hyperpituitism, which is a pituitary
Blank
problem.
look from me.
It's the pituitary gland in your brain sends messages to all of your glandular system. So it works your adrenal glands, it works your thyroid, it works all your glands. Yeah, it's very, very important. And Molly's isn't functioning properly, so it's not working her adrenal glands, it's not working her thyroid, and she's also on growth hormone, which is daily injections now.
So, yeah, I suppose having a diagnosis is something, although obviously you'd have hoped it was something, more straightforward, but there you go, the luck of the draw.
Well, yeah, you know, the main thing with it is when she got diagnosed, I didn't really understand the enormity of the diagnosis, and in a way I was quite relieved because she'd been diagnosed, and we thought, well, hopefully now we can get her sorted and we can all get on and you know, but and then it started dawning on me how serious it was, and it's actually a life-threatening, incurable condition. And I've since met. I mean, I did get quite down about it all when it was all diagnosed. But then I thought, I'm going to have to do something about this because it is so unrecognised. It really is so rare that no one knows what it is. It's adrenal insufficiency. That's the part of the condition that I'm trying to focus on at the moment. Basically what it is like diabetes sufferers say they can't produce any insulin. Well, Molly and the other adrenal insufficiency sufferers, they can't produce cortisone, which is a natural steroid, and it's the same thing. If they don't have this, eventually they will just go into a coma and die. It is that serious. And when she was diagnosed, I kind of expected a pack of information. We were told she had to have a identity bracelet. She's got an emergency injection. She's got all sorts of things we've got to carry around with her. And really, this injection thing, I mean, this is what started it off. I thought, well, it comes in 4 parts, and it's an emergency injection. So you've got the medicine in a glass vial, you've got an intramuscular syringe, needle, and you've got a syringe. and swabs. So when, say, your child got into difficulty, had an accident, this is when the stress hormone would kick in normally. But Molly hasn't got any stress hormone, so it wouldn't happen. So very quickly she would become unconscious. This is when she needs her emergency injection. So
it's all about timing as well.
Yes, definitely. So basically what you've got to do, you've got to open this glass vial, you've got to draw up the medicine, you've got to attach a needle, keeping it all clean and, sterile at the time. You've then got, this is bearing in mind when your child's going into unconsciousness.
Yeah, and you're freaking out, yeah.
Yeah, and you're scared and you're shaking.
Yeah.
You've got to put all these bits and pieces together, and then you've got to find the right place to do it, take the trousers off, whatever she's wearing, and then inject it intramuscularly into her leg. There isn't an EpiPen for this condition. It's just so misunderstood. It seems to be in the dark ages with the medications, because
it's so rare, presumably. I mean, it's often the way,
I think the thing
the research isn't there.
Is that it is rare, but then there's over 100,000 people with this in America. In this country, you probably would recognise the disease Addison's disease. Well, that's another cause of adrenal insufficiency, and I think there's about 10,000 in this country with Addison's. And there's also the other people with Molly's condition, and there are other conditions that can give you this as well, like taking too much steroid medication that can cause your body to go into this and have adrenal insufficiency too.
So bearing in mind that Molly has spent so much of her life indoors, and not what she wanted, but that she has spent much of her life indoors, that's why the idea of the picnic sort of thing came up, didn't it? So tell me a bit about what you want people to do.
Yeah, well,
why?
What I thought was I started a petition off to get an EpiPen developed, to get the new. This is what we want.
To make it easier.
We want new medications. We want slow release drugs. We want pumps available. Just the standard medications that diabetes sufferers receive, really. This is kind of what we're working for. So I got in touch with the Pituitary Foundation and I said, I want to have an adrenal insufficiency awareness day. And they said, yeah, that's great. Okay, so I spoke to this guy, Jay, who's the fundraiser down at the Pituitary Foundation, and we've got an adrenal insufficiency day tomorrow. And so what we're doing is we're having picnics, just Molly's picnics. They're going on all over the world. We've got about 80 all over the world. We've got, there's Atlanta, Florida, New York, Barcelona, just everywhere. There's just picnics going on all over the place. And mine is tomorrow at Minchinhampton Common at 5 o'clock, and we're just going to have a big balloon release, and just basically people just turn up with a picnic blanket and lots of friends, just have a picnic, and then you're aware of what's going on, the condition. We just need it to become something that somebody recognises, like diabetes or cancer or asthma or whatever. I mean, if we were trying to raise money for that, or having a campaign for that, everyone would understand what it was.
Yes, it's just
with adrenal insufficiency, it's so in the dark ages. I mean, there's not even protocol for emergency in America. They're trying to get it into each state. There's so many things going on that people are trying to do. But even medical professionals, I mean, I've heard so many stories where people are dying because they're not getting their hydrocortisone injection that they need at the right times, because a lot of people just aren't aware of the condition. So that's the main thing.
That's the main message.
Yeah.
80 Molly's picnics going on around the world tomorrow. Yep. So what does Molly think about it, just before you go?
She's quite excited.
She's not that teenage thing, oh, Mum, what are you doing?
No, actually, she's so lovely. She sent me a song yesterday. It was so sweet, telling me how much she loves me.
Well, so that's nice. Every mother likes
really
that.
Happy. No, she seems really happy. I mean, she's at home at the moment, probably asleep. I don't know if they're listening. Hello at home if you are. But she's off of school at the moment because she's caught this cold that I've got. So she's going to be ill again for another week. But hopefully now she's on these medications. And if we can get them improved, that's all we want. So awareness is the key.
Awareness is the key.
Yep.
If you want to join in Molly's picnic, there's one at Minchinhampton, then anywhere particular?
5 o'clock near the reservoir.
Near the reservoir, there you are, that's easy, where the ice cream van often is, at the reservoir on Minchinhampton Common. Have a picnic and just think about Molly. Lovely, really nice to meet you, Rachel. Thank you very much. Good to hear the story and the difficulties of having, a sick child, they're trying to work out what's going wrong, and also to be able to keep juggling the rest of the family as well. We were hearing then from Rachel Pegler and 15-year-old Molly from Stroud. Okay, let's